Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Monday the 5th of December 2016 and we're briefly commenting on Italy's referendum result and what it could mean for gold and silver prices. As suspected and commented on in our last video on this subject, entitled "Could Italy's referendum destroy the EU and cause gold and silver prices to rise?", published on the 20th of November, Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi has resigned after suffering a heavy defeat. With most ballots now counted, the no vote leads with 60% against 40% for yes. The turnout was nearly 70%, in a vote that was seen as a chance to register discontent with the Prime Minister and the establishment. Mr. Renzi told reporters, quote, "Good luck to us all," unquote. After meeting with his cabinet, he will then tender his resignation to the Italian president this afternoon. As a reminder, essentially Matteo Renzi staked his political future on his attempt to change Italy's cumbersome political system. He wanted to strengthen central government and weaken the Senate. His opponents argued that the reforms would give the Prime Minister too much power. The electorate has clearly agreed. However, one could also quite easily draw the conclusion that the referendum was more than a vote on constitutional reform, but a chance for the people to reject establishment politics. The European political elite viewed Prime Minister Renzi as the only premier left in Europe with a vision for the EU's future. Angela Merkel is too busy crisis managing, while much of France is in the thrall to National Front Eurosceptics' Front National. Italy is the euro currency's third largest economy, and it's in for a turbulent time. We should not forget that there are more controversial and unpredictable votes to come in 2017, in France, Germany, the Netherlands, and perhaps in Italy too. It is unlikely that Italy will pull out of the EU. However, the main opposition parties, Five Star and the Northern League, although opposed to the Eurozone, are not opposed to the EU membership itself. But this will create its own tensions nevertheless. Whilst senior EU members are downplaying the prospect of a Euro or EU crisis, there is no doubt that this referendum result will further embolden those parties in other countries who are opposed to EU membership. At worst, this is another brick removed from the EU wall, or at best, one that has become very loose. Already this morning, the euro hit a 20-month low, and most Asian stocks retreated. Gold prices in US dollar terms initially spiked to $1,188, but has since fallen $12 from its opening to the current $1,164. Similar movements happened in euros, with gold now down €8 and in sterling with gold down £9 this morning. Silver movements were similar. Initial spikes, but again in all three currencies down around 1% on its Friday's close. We still have to wait and see how this news is further digested and interpreted by the markets. But if these precious metal falls fail to recover, then we can certainly see gold testing that psychological $1,100 floor and silver that psychological $16 floor. It is quite possible that this news is being discounted to some extent, as there is still no imperative for Italy to hold an election quite yet, as the Italian Prime Minister may be asked to hold on until the budget is announced. So perhaps traders generally are doing all they can to ensure the feel-good factor continues until at least the end of the year. Our advice to listeners is to watch what happens to the banks and their stocks. Many of them are already fragile and interlinked with those across not only Europe but the Western world. If a banking crisis occurs, contagion may be difficult to control. We are not at this point too worried, but we are watching with a slight feeling of concern. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumb up and share it on Twitter. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe as a free member for regular email updates and offers. Our Facebook page, which is updated daily, can be found at facebook.com/illuminatisilver. Disclaimer. Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.